Okay, we are live. Did you see that?
I
We're
did.
live. Awesome. So people will start to slowly make their way in to say, hey, how's it going?
Okay.
So everybody, welcome to our monthly coach and coffee, although I'm drinking tea, chat to find out things to help you be successful, and maybe you get a little tidbit to help you, on your journey to whatever you're on your journey to. And this month, hooray, we have Count on Patty. Boop, 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 boop.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And we met over a year ago.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yep.
that's when I first joined Cubicle, the CEO, and we connected and had a great chat. And I follow your Instagram posts. They're always like super inspiring. Not accountant like at all.
Well, you gotta have a little bit of fun in there,
Right?
I'm your typical, bookkeeper / accountant. I was a cheerleader all through, grammar school, high school, and college. So accounting major, cheerleader. They don't really go,
They don't necessarily go to, well, but look, I went accountant to massage therapist.
Right. Yes.
I think you can combine anything.
Yes. Yes. You can.
Chocolate and bacon.
Yeah.
They go together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So tell me how you went from maybe not from cheerleader, but you said we were talking earlier, you said you went from corporate, I guess, as much as you feel like sharing, or
so I had taken a basic bookkeeping in high school.
Right.
And that's when I knew that I was going into accounting. Like that was the goal. That's where I was headed. It's going to be the CFO. We're just going to run the company. So I
aim low. You don't aim low at all, right? I'm going to be CFO.
I'm just going to run the company, not VP. I'm just, the head of everything. So I went to Pace University in New York, got my accounting degree, and I worked in corporate for about 12, 13 years.
Wow.
So every year, it's not like my dad worked for the A&P for 35 years. So it's not like, my parents where you stay that long at the company. You do, change. It's really the only way you kind of made more money in salary was by getting a new job. So I would learn everything that I have to do with that company and then move on. So I had like 12 to 13 different jobs, in that time. And then 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and it totally changed everything.
No
kidding. The path that I thought I was going to take is now not happening, because being in the environment was causing me to, flare up and be sick. So I went out on
totally change your life perspective, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was a total game changer for everything, on how I had to eat, how I had to take care of myself. And in the midst of this, we're now, where am I going to go career-wise? Like, what am I going to do? So I was out on disability for about a year. And in that time, I started doing a little bookkeeping for other people, and gradually, little by little, I started to get my own clients. So now I've had my own bookkeeping business for about 12 years, and I get to do what I love to do, but on my terms. And my health is what is more important, really, than anything else at the end of the day. And, I am healthy and everything is good. And yeah, I'm doing what I love.
Well, and you go to the beach every day.
I do.
So you are living the dream, really. Come on. But it seems to me like when I look at your stuff, it seems like you're not just like your average bookkeeper. Like you're not just saying, give me your stuff and enter it here, pay these bills.
Yeah.
You seem to be doing more than that.
So when I start working with a client, it is a trust factor, because you are handing over all your financial information to basically a complete stranger. I mean, I work with a lot of my clients' accountants, so they refer me. So you have that, that bridge where, okay, if my accountant trusts her, then, I know she knows what she's doing. But I kind of fit in where the client needs me until they see that I'm capable of doing more. So I can do everything from A to Z. But it's building that trust and saying, oh, can you do a workers' comp audit? Sure, I can handle that. We're going to do payroll. Can you set me up on payroll? Sure, I can do that. So it's seeing what they need and kind of filling in and helping as I see that I can help them the best way.
And you do, I guess you somehow incorporate a little bit of coaching into that, do you? It seems
yes, because basically as I start to learn their patterns and see how they're spending the money, what they're doing, I then can say, listen, this is how you have the invoices set up. QuickBooks can do this. Do you want to change it? It's going to save us time. Or, especially at the end of the year, we'll run all the expenses to be like, this is what you're spending for the year. Are we on target? Do you want to spend more? Like, what are we doing? Because, the clients, they spend the money. They're not really seeing what bucket goes into until it's presented to them in, a profit and loss statement where they can see, oh, wow, I'm spending this much in, meals and entertainment. I'm spending this much in office supplies, all that kind of stuff. So it is crucial to kind of go over that with them so they know where their money's going.
Right. Did you ever meet Jennifer in the Cubicle, the CEO group? She's in New Zealand.
I don't think so.
She's in New Zealand, but she's a Profits First coach.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's just another way to look at it, but it's that same thing. Like,
yes.
And I've done, I have a bunch of videos in YouTube where I talk about, if you don't know where you're spending your money and you don't have a target of what you're aiming for, then what are you doing?
and it's so always important with everything that we went through with COVID. A lot of my clients applying for the PPP loan, we had to know what your payroll numbers are. What are you spending on utilities? Because all that was part of applying for the loan. And then in order to get it forgiven, okay, are we using the money the right way in the right category in order for it to be forgiven?
Yeah, and it was the same here. You had to know pretty much on a weekly basis what your revenues were to be able to apply for assistance.
Yep.
And it was a lot of number pulling together. I'm sure the accountants were run off their feet. I don't know.
Well, it was new to everybody. It was just, I was kind of thrown in, and I had clients listen, we'll pay you to sit on, webinars to learn how to do this for us because we have no clue. And they don't really access, they know their QuickBooks, they have access to the QuickBooks, but they're not looking at it, not like I am,
No, and they look for it for different things. I find a lot of business owners look to see, how much cash do I have?
My bank says this much, QuickBooks says this much. Why is there a difference?
What's going on? I don't understand. And so were you helping people figure out how to get access to money? Did you bring that?
I did. I set everybody up. I would do everything for them for the PPP. So I would do all the calculations. There was a form that we could use as a template. And then it got to the point where, okay, I filled it out. Now you have to go in and sign because I'm not,
right.
I'm not the owner of the company. But yes, I did everything, ran all the calculations, all the numbers. And then, they just kind of had to hit the submit button once we did it. But you had to shop around because not all banks offered it, or it was a delay.
Really?
And yeah. Or it took too long, or they ran out of money, so there was a lot of issues. So you did kind of have to shop around for a couple of people.
Right. Ours was through the government. So it was all,
okay.
Just go to the government.
Yeah, no.
But you still needed to know what was what.
Yeah. No.
And I'm sure there's going to get people caught who just said, I'll figure it out later. Right. And just put their application in. So when you're so what do you think the biggest thing that small business owners, what do you think they struggle with the most when it comes to knowing what's going on? I have my opinion, but I want to know your opinion.
A lot of, when I start working with somebody, if they don't have a separate business account, that's a nightmare because they're commingling and, get it. Everybody uses personal and business, we all do it. But when you are ready to start the business, you really do need to have a separate business account, checking account and a separate card. It's just the cleanest way to keep everything in order, to keep track of everything. And and to
know where your money is actually going.
Right.
Is it going to business or was it all the lattes?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Although Starbucks is closed for a while, so I suddenly discovered I didn't need to go to Starbucks all the time.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think COVID, it changed people on, what you were spending on. It was like a reality check. Wow, I didn't know I ate out that much, or, I did. I got the coffee every day because a lot of people were home and they weren't, incurring those additional expenses.
What kind of businesses do you find you work with the most? Where are you Do you read?
Actually, I mean, I run the gamut. I mean, I have a landscaper, some lawyers, cosmetics, they do eye products, public relations, moving company. So to me, I don't have a specific like industry, because at the end of the day, I think bookkeeping is the same. You all pay your bills and you all collect money. It's just the little terminology that maybe you call your sales compared to, the landscaper who's, cutting your lawn,
Right.
so differently.
Yeah.
So.
Lawyers have, I guess the only added thing lawyer types have is like your trust allocate, like the money is held in trust
Right,
and whatnot.
right.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, it all is very similar at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, bank rack has to be done. You're reconciling your credit cards. You
Got to
run
pay your
the
taxes.
reports to give to the accountant to do the taxes. So it's, at the end of the day, it's all the same.
So do you do any, you don't, I think when we talked about this before, you don't really do the Canadian taxes, but I don't think you really need to. If you're the liaison between their accountant person, then you wouldn't really need it. Like,
no.
All you have to
No,
do is
so I kind of just get everything ready. And then at the end of the year, I mean, there are some clients where like I deal directly with their accountants. They know to come to me and say, okay, Patty, send me this, this, and this. And then I don't hear from them unless there's some journal entries that I need to book to, clean stuff up. But yeah, by the end of the year, I'm just handing everything over, and it's enough for, them to do the taxes for the clients.
Do you have any that do their own stuff and then you come in later and try to
like do their own bookkeeping? Oh yeah.
You're like, no.
Oh yeah. Yes. That is how I have gone. Everybody, I have not started. I have a couple people that I've started just as they have started. We're working together. But I'm going to say 80% of my clients I have all gotten because they have come to the point that they can't do it or they don't want to do it. And they need help.
Like, do you find, because I know a lot of small businesses think they can't afford to hire someone to help them.
Correct. Yes, that's the biggest objection I have. They understand they need someone like me. They can't afford me. But they don't realize that the time that they're spending doing what I do could be spent on creating programs, on creating revenue for their account that would, or their company that would pay me.
It is that mind flip, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything from James Wedmore?
Yes.
He's doing something right now. He's got his whole program thing launching right now. But I remember last year, I think I saw something by him where he was saying, are you doing are you getting, basically, are you doing the work of an intern or an admin person who would make, just to throw numbers out, $20 an hour when you are the CEO and you should be making $100 an hour. So go out and do the $100 an hour thing, pay someone to do that other stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Which we forget. And sometimes for me, it's like, I like doing that stuff though. But then I have to remind myself, this isn't the best use of my time.
Right. And it's not making you the most money. It's not going to generate the most, and it's not your zone of genius, People will outsource their social media. They'll get a VA, but they don't think to do the bookkeeping. And I also think it's a control thing. It's like they're giving up something and they're afraid.
Right.
And it's amazing that, I've got clients who are that way. And after 6 months, they're like, how did I not hire you? Like, well, how did I do this without you, before you, It's such a difference. And to me, that's great because I've made a difference and I've helped them in their business.
It is funny how you resist and resist and resist something. And then once you finally do it, you're like, what's that? What took me so long? Right. What? I think about that a lot because I do it to myself too. I'm like, why did I resist that for so long? Yeah. What was it in me that was not wanting to do that? Yeah. And I don't always have an answer. If I could answer that, man, I could solve the world problems. Yeah. I could create world peace somehow. So when you find you've got those people, like, how do you, I guess, kind of like ease them into it?
I think it's just them seeing what I'm doing, like what I said I could do for them, and then saying, okay, look, I have now my customers are all set up. Oh, I'm not chasing after payments. All my bills are being paid. Oh, you mean everything reconciles at the end of the month? Like I would do that and there would be a difference. I wouldn't know what to do, you know? So I think it's just kind of seeing the little things that I kind of take for granted because I don't think it's second nature to me.
Right.
They realize that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is what I've needed, you know, from the get-go.
So do you give them like a little intro? I'll just do this one thing for you for a little while and see how you like it.
We kind of do sort out. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, depending on what we're going to do, you know, if I'm coming in to clean up, then it's like I need to clean up and we make it all work. We put everything the right way. But if I'm just kind of taking over the bookkeeping, then it's like, yeah, okay, give me your bank statements. I'll set you up. We'll reconcile. And then it's like, oh, okay. You know, after a couple of months, they kind of feel comfortable with that.
So then if you were going to get a new client, and I mean, so we want them to separate, some people have separated. I guess I know some small businesses who have separated it, but still they're not in a healthy financial place. So what do you do to try to help them figure out how to, I guess, do you help them figure out how to be financially healthy? Or are you?
Well, I mean, it takes a couple of months of me seeing their pattern. You know,
Right.
after, you know, you just hand me a bank statement, I'm like, okay, I can't see. But then as I start doing the work, I can see where they're spending, where they're not, you know, charging enough or where they're losing money. You know, it's kind of like you have these programs, but maybe you're not collecting the money or their payments are defaulting and you're not chasing after it. Well, you're losing money, you know, or you're getting charged these fees and you're not, you know, aware of it. So it kind of takes a couple of months before I can kind of see the pattern that they have.
Right. And I mean, I guess because I'm just thinking of some businesses that I've seen, because I think sometimes when you're not on top of your financials or you don't look at them on a regular basis, you don't actually know what your cash flow is.
Right.
So you just spend whatever you want.
Right, because they see it's in the bank account. You know, let me go to the ATM. Let me use the debit card. This is what the bank is showing. You know, that's what they think they have, and it's not the actual. You know,
it's not. It could be.
Yeah.
It could be higher than you're actually looking at.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean you should run out and spend it.
Right. Right. And I think going through the pandemic kind of showed that because it kind of changed. It halted everybody. Where it's like, okay, what we have in the bank, we need to I still have to pay people until we get the money, until we do this. You know, I mean, it drastically changed how everybody, you know, thought about what was in the bank and how to spend it.
Do you think as things start to open, people are going to just go on a crazy spending spree?
No, I think little by little, they'll just kind of release them, you know, like feel more comfortable in going, you know, and spending it.
You don't think they're going to feel like they've been let out of prison?
No. I mean, because they're kind of just, you know, you don't know what's going to happen, you know, depending on the industry. I mean, one of my clients is a restaurant. We're dying to open. We can't find people who want to work.
Really?
Yeah.
So are they open right now? I mean, everywhere is different, but
no, I mean, we're all open here. Yes. Here we're open but we just can't find, you know, people who want to work.
I wonder what that is, because we have the same problem.
Okay.
That service industries are starting to open again, where we have a 3-stage opening process. Right now, we're in stage 1. We get to enter stage 2 in 5 days. Okay. And then right now we can have outdoor dining, but even the outdoor patios are having trouble finding staff, and I don't know where everybody went.
I think I still think a lot of people are on unemployment, and they're making more still on the unemployment than if they went back to work. That's my opinion.
Oh, wow. I'd rather work. Really? I mean, I would, it's just me, I guess. I mean, I'd rather be, because it's more fun. Sitting at home watching Netflix. Right?
Well, it gets a little tiring after a while. Like, I mean, you can only do that for so long, you know?
Exactly. So when I guess I'm trying to find some financial wellness, like plan. Did I ask you this? Do you do budgeting for people?
I don't do budgeting, no.
Do they do you find a lot of small businesses have budgeting?
No. No, because especially if they're starting out, like they have no idea. We can run a comparison. So that's something after working with someone for 2 years, I can then run a comparison so we can see the change and where the money has increased or decreased to kind of give you an idea. It's like, okay, you're spending a lot of money in payroll. Do the payroll costs need to be that high? Can we, tweak it if anything? You're spending a lot of money in, social media or advertising or something like that. So I'll do that with my clients. We'll run comparison over, a certain time period to kind of see, where the money is being spent.
And it is hard when you're like in a brand new company to know. But I mean, I'm still kind of a fan of having, maybe not a budget, maybe a budget's the wrong word, having a target. Like I'm a fan of saying, I'm going to earn $100,000 this year.
Yes.
And then, so then I have my target and then I go, okay, how am I going to do it? Right. Like, okay, how many widgets do I have to sell to make $100,000? And then how many widgets a month? Okay, so I need to sell this many widgets a month, and then how many a week? And then like I actually heard an interesting podcast where they were talking about, they used a vacuum cleaner salesman as an example. So you want to sell 100 vacuums in a month, and you know that half of the people whose doors you knock on open the door, and you know that half of the people whose doors open that you sell a vacuum cleaner. So they said, okay, you want to sell 100 vacuum cleaners. So then you need you need 200 people to open the door. So you need 400 doors to knock on. So if you want to sell, 100 in a month, you need to knock on 400 doors. So they were like drilling it down to an action instead of just go sell 1,000, go and sell 100 vacuums. Instead, they drilled it down to go knock on 400 doors, because that translates, which I thought was obvious, but at the same time, we don't often think of it that way. So I thought it was quite brilliant.
Well, just like any coaches, like as you are creating your programs, like how much do you want to make? How much, if you have a low end product, how many of those do you need to sell to get to your target? If you have a high end, how many of that? If you do one-on-one. So it's all taking, what you offer and bringing it down to get to the end result.
Yeah, even massage therapists. So it's like, how many massages do you have to do a week? One, can you do that many massages in a week? Like, because something like one-on-one coaching, massage therapy, all those high touch, like, and even you, like with your clients, it's like one at a time. Are there enough hours in the week? And is it reasonable? Are you building in time off? And if it's a physical thing, like massage is physical, can you sustain that long term? And then my brain just turned off. Oh my God. But yeah, it's interesting to see the conversion. So for coaches, how many people do you have to talk to convert them to a client? And then can you talk to that many people? For massage therapists, they have different avenues to get clients. Sometimes it's networking, and how many people do you have to talk to? How many virtual doors do you have to knock on to get clients? So that's to circle back around. Like, I like having a target, but sometimes the target, without translating it back down to how are you going to get there, is just like some kind of fantasy life.
And if you're just starting out, you're going to incur different expenses because you're starting up. So like the first year, you might spend more. Let's just use advertising, have that be like your social media and like Facebook ads and all that. You might have more in it because you want to start, because you're starting out. You want to get the clients. But then maybe your second year, you're not spending that much because you have the clients and you're in a groove and you kind of understand what it is that you need to do.
And you're starting to get maybe referrals coming back through. That makes sense. And I mean, depending on if it's a bricks and mortar as well, there's the startup of like getting everything set up, or even any, like getting a website and
well, you have to pay rent. Are you prorated? CAM charges, all that kind of stuff. People don't think about that. That's all part of, the cost of running a business.
Right. That doesn't mean that people shouldn't run out and run a business. I don't want people to get scared and run away.
Right.
Although some people might already be in business and go, what the heck did I get myself into? One of my YouTube videos was called, What the heck did I get myself into? Right? It's like, because you have this dream. And I mean, I always want to help people. So you have this dream of being in a business for yourself. So I want to help them kind of, if they are in business and struggling, help them kind of get to a higher place where it's not as hard and they can get into their groove and their flow and be the business that they wanted. My video series was called Build a Business of Your Dreams.
That's great.
And then if they're not in business yet, but they're really wishing they could just quit their jobs and go and do their cake decorating business. I know some people who do cake decorating as a job, which is like very lucrative. People love cake.
Yeah.
I was on a webinar the other day where this woman was developing a course to teach people to do origami. I thought, that's brilliant. I don't know anybody else who's doing that.
Yeah.
I would probably pay for an origami course. I don't know. But if they're dreaming of it, like, go into it still with the, a little bit, one rose-colored glasses.
Right.
And then the other side not. So you can be realistic and dream at the same time, right? Find a balance in between. And that's part of that is being informed, I think, so you don't get blindsided, right?
Right.
And there's no perfect checklist anywhere.
No.
That I've noticed. If you know of one, tell me.
Okay. Haven't found it. Nope.
There's no all-encompassing everything that could possibly happen to you.
Right.
But it's good to be informed.
Right.
How many startup people do you start up? Are a lot of your people established?
No, most of it are established. They were all businesses who either they were doing the bookkeeping or like a bookkeeper left or yeah. So, but I have I will put out there listen, I'll jump on a call with you, 15 minutes, ask me questions, ask me what I have to do. How do I set this up? We can always do something like that so that you are, you might not be ready. You think you can't afford me yet and you're not ready for me, but let me at least kind of guide you in the right direction. And, it doesn't hurt to just jump on a call and just say, okay, am I doing this right? Am I setting myself up right? Am I doing it right from the get-go so that they don't screw it up? And then it's like a nightmare to, undo all the mistakes.
I know. I don't know if he's listening. So my husband every now and then will go, because he's got QuickBooks, he says, I think I made a mistake. And I'll it's like, is he watching? I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, anybody, even coaching, people will say, I'm not ready to hire a coach yet. I'm like, that's fine. It's okay. But if you have if you want to have a 20-minute chat about something, I don't mind talking to people about what's going on and give them a direction to at least kind of head off in so they don't feel like they're spinning.
Yes. Because it just takes maybe one thing just to rethink it, to explain it a little bit differently than what they think for them to go, oh, that totally makes sense,
Right.
And then it saves a headache, for everybody.
Yeah. And I always want people to feel like they're making progress to whatever their life journey is. Getting very esoteric, but so your first recommendation was to split out all.
Make sure you have a separate, checking and credit card for the business. Yes.
Do you have a second recommendation for people?
Use a software. I mean, if you have to, if you're really good with Excel, you can use, create a spreadsheet, but using something like QuickBooks, and that's what I use for all my clients. So that's what I'm familiar with, but there's so many different ones out there. It keeps everything in one place and it's less headache at the end of the year when you have to get everything ready for your accountant to hand over for taxes than trying to scramble. I mean, there's, apps that can talk to everything and you can scan your receipts and, keep track of mileage. I mean, there's so many things that you can, attach and use with a software package, but it would just really make your life a lot simpler come tax time.
And it's funny you said if you're good at Excel. So I ran my yoga studio off of an Excel spreadsheet for a little
Okay.
while because I was like, I'm an Excel pro. No, even an Excel pro will screw up an Excel spreadsheet, like one little cell at a place, and
Yeah.
it's going to mess everything up,
Right.
and you won't know the mistake is there. That's the
Right.
problem,
Right.
right?
Right.
So I went, one day I went, why am I doing this? and I use QuickBooks as well, although I've used other things because I've had clients who use FreshBooks and whatnot and
Right.
things I've never heard of. But it does make your life so much easier. It's one of those, why didn't I do this before?
Right.
Questions, right?
Yeah.
Because I did it to myself. Started using QuickBooks, the initial setup, it's going to take a little time. And do you do that for people?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you must set them
Yes.
up. So get
Yes.
somebody to set it up for you, even if
Yeah.
you want to do it yourself. Just get somebody to set up for you. Because once it's in there, you're just like, oh, click, look at
Yep.
that. My month end is done.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
no, I mean, it does. It just is, it's very seamless. And then it's nice and clean and organized. And if you have to move something around, it's easy to do. It's not the end of the world, but it's all in one place. You're not like scrambling.
And people look at the cost, but it's the same we were talking about before. The monthly cost is way cheaper than the number of hours you spend
Correct.
trying to find a mistake in a spreadsheet.
Correct. Yep.
Take my word for it.
Yeah.
And I know how to do spreadsheets.
And it's a write-off. You get to, expense that, so just like you're, expensing your subscription to some, coach's membership, or if you're subscribing to, graphics for your social media, you get to write it off.
Right? Lower your taxes,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Very cool. And then do you have a third one? I like 3. 3 is a good number.
Just, I guess, keeping track of everything. I don't know. I mean, it's just, everything is all over. So I think just, being organized, that is going to be something that's very useful and very helpful.
Even if you just stick it all in one place.
Yes. Yes.
Although when I was an auditor, and
Wow.
I remember when I was working for the accounting firm and it was tax season, and it's the last day before tax filing and someone brings you a box.
Mm-hmm.
And it's organized in their mind because it's all in the same box.
Right.
But it's all in the same box.
Right. Yeah, no. Yeah. Yep.
And it takes hours and hours to sort that out. So be organized, like even if you just have file folders, envelopes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell them, get one of those, the accordion,
the accordions,
by month, and just put each month in. Like, then you have every month together. So it's, okay, here's all my January stuff, here's all my February, here's all my March. And then at the end of the year, you're getting 1099s, you get 1099s or tax documents, all that. Just kind of put it all in one place, because, when you go to your account.
1099.
So if you are a subcontractor or a contractor, we get issue a 1099 if you make over $600. So I am a contractor on all my clients. I am not an employee, so they're not responsible for taxes. I'm responsible for my own taxes.
We call that a T4A.
Okay.
We like to use letters and numbers.
Same but different. 1099, it went from this to NEC this year. So we changed the letters this year, which is not fun.
Just messing with you. But all that is good. And I mean, I love the number of businesses that have opened. Like we were talking about, COVID is hard for people, but also some people have found it as that opportunity to jump out and do that thing that they, maybe that's why we can't find any wait staff. They've all created their own online businesses and they're out there like earning millions of dollars.
Yeah, there you go.
Good for them. Good for them.
Exactly.
But it's like, so some people have been struggling. Some people have been having a great time. And now I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh my gosh. I need more omega-3.
Friday afternoon,
I know. So I was just, for people watching, I was telling Patty, because I came in like 10 minutes before we started. I wasn't ready. My green screen wasn't up. I was like losing my mind because I was running from one thing to another, which you shouldn't do, right? Why cause stress in your life? I was watching this live stream by Gabby Bernstein, who said, I don't stress. My whole life is a stress-free zone. And I can't even, like, what does that mean? Right?
Right.
I'm
Right.
still working on it. I'm a work
Yes.
in progress, as we all are.
Yes.
But I think that's fascinating that she has managed to structure her business, her life, everything. It's like, if it's stressful, I take it off.
I
Just go
think
with
adding
it.
the boundaries, make sure you have those boundaries in place that wouldn't trigger you to get stressed.
One of the things that stresses people out is their business, their financials.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
I take away all that stress and worry, and you can, after a couple months, you can see the change in the client. It's like, okay, like I have this off my plate and it's being handled. And it's being handled well. Like I don't have to worry about it.
And if they say, I wonder if I can buy a new Porsche, you say, maybe, yes, no.
Right. Let's look at the numbers. What is it going to
Numbers.
cost? What are we going to do? Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I know a business owner who really likes Porsches. So he bought himself one, but he checked first to make sure he could.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want your life to be a stress-free zone, you have to kind of structure it that way.
Yes.
And it's knowing stuff's going to happen. So at the end of my Tai Chi classes, I always say, we're learning to go with the flow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the ways to go with the flow is to take the stuff off your plate that you don't need to be stressing about.
Right.
And not everybody gets stressed about financials.
No.
But if you, and I've said this in other streams, I'm like, if you don't know the health of your company until you do your tax return at the end of the year, that's not knowing the health of your company.
Right. Right.
And your financial position.
Yeah.
And I know that when people get to the end of the year, that is stressful. The tax time is stressful because they don't know if they can afford it.
Right.
But if you have that stress off of your plate all year long,
right,
you've planned in advance, right?
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah, my post on my Instagram yesterday was all about, where are you spending your time? Like, how many additional hours are you spending on doing this kind of stuff? Are you working after, some people, they're working a full-time job while they're starting their business. You're working all day and then coming home trying to work on the business, but then you got to do the bookkeeping stuff, or are you spending your weekends? And that's time away from family and doing what you love. And
you're not doing the bookkeeping stuff, and that's going to come back and get you.
Right.
What is your Instagram again? Count on Patty?
It's count_on_Patty.
_on_Patty. I'm just putting it in the chat box so people can find you.
You'll see some beach pictures too, so don't be alarmed.
Not a nude beach, is it?
No.
Okay. Then what's your email for people if they want to reach you?
So it's Patty, Patty, at Patty Saggio, SAGGIO.com.
Awesome. There it is. I'm putting it in.
Okay.
Do you have a website?
Sure. Countonpatty.com.
Easy.
Yeah. Keep it all consistent.
And people should follow you on Instagram because I always see your Instagram posts. I think they're great.
Thank you.
Sometimes I have one of those reshare apps, and I reshare things that are I think people would find interesting or funny, mostly just funny. I'm like, that's funny. Right. But some serious stuff,
Yes.
So
I'm here to help and offer tips and just maybe look at things differently and be like, oh, okay, yes, I do spend this. Maybe I do need someone, like Patty to, bring her onto the team, or, I'm doing this currently. Okay, I'm on the right track. That kind of stuff.
Like, can you help Canadian clients as well? Because bookkeeping is bookkeeping, right?
Right. It would just be, so if like I was starting with QuickBooks, when you set up the QuickBooks, we would just change the currency. So you have that option. So the same thing. I mean, you're paying bills, you're collecting money. It just would be slightly different. Yeah.
Yeah. Bookkeeping is bookkeeping, my friends. Having seen all sides of it.
Yes.
I used to do international companies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Same.
Right.
So if people want to reach out to you, is it best to go email or
either way?
Email. Are you on the book face? Are you on the Facebook? Do you have a Facebook?
I am on the
page?
Facebook. I'm on the Instagram than the Facebook. Yeah.
So they can find you at count_on Patty or I put your.
Or I am, I'm Patricia Saggio in Facebook. So, I mean, I do have,
Okay.
so you can always reach out to me that way too. I just don't, I have a group, but it's not a lot of activity because I do focus more on the Instagram.
Right. And Instagram, I mean, you just go where the people are engaged, right?
Right.
Do you have parting words for people?
Just to kind of, not get so stressed about it. Don't worry about the finances. It all will work out. Everything is, it's gonna be okay. Like, just take a deep breath. Like, especially if you are doing your own stuff, just don't let it overwhelm you and stress you out.
Those are good words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't make your life a stress-free zone.
Yes.
And if that's one of the things that stresses you,
right,
find a way to move it
right.
somewhere else. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. It was so good to see you. I haven't talked to you in so long. But let's stay in touch, okay?
Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely. And thank you for having me. It's been
Thanks.
great.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.